Welcome to session 9 of Ignite. Capture more leads. Something we could always use. Again, if someone has a question or you want to stop me at any point to give more detail or have a question, just unmute yourself and talk, because I'm not really paying attention to the chat right now. So it's better that you just unmute yourself and say, James, I have a question, okay? Alrighty. So let's look at the course overview. I know John, Veronia, and Dan, you already have been through this before. I'm going this for the sake of Elizabeth and Gio. I don't think you guys saw that before. Okay? So I'll just walk you through the framework of what you missed so far and where we are now and where we're going. Okay? And I like to go briefly every class just to refresh your memory about what we've been through, and afterwards show you where we're going, and then we elaborate on today's topic. So the course of Ignite is based on 4 foundational phases, okay? First phase is real estate expert of choice, how to become a real estate expert of choice. And I said that many times, that anybody can be a real estate agent, as you know, but we have to be a real estate expert so that people would want to work with us. How do we become a real estate expert? We got through the first lesson, Spark Your Career, how we got through the 6 personal perspectives. If we've been through that, and embrace your job, the 6 core competencies of any business, because you as a real estate agent, you run your own business. You're the CEO of your own business. And 3, we connect with your market. You become an expert and learn the numbers of your market. So when any potential client talks to you, you'll be able to answer intelligently and with knowledge, so that he feels that you have the knowledge to guide him and work with you. And then finally, last session in Real Estate Expert of Choice was define your value. What's your value proposition? And the value proposition answers the important question of why would a buyer or seller work with you and not with another agent? What is the value you are offering on the table? Because he has a lot of options, believe it or not. There are tons of real estate agents with licenses, part-time, full-time. Some of them are very aggressive when they approach their leads. So you have to make, your value proposition to show him why he would want to work with you. So that was the first phase we finished. And then we started the second phase, lead generation, which is comprised of 5 classes. We started by learning how to generate your leads, which we're going to touch up on again today in more detail. Grow your database. Whenever we capture a lead, we need to feed it in a database so that we, follow up and maintain this database and make it grow. And we learn how to grow our database in the 6th session. And then the 7th session, we talked about capturing leads with open houses, and what's the best techniques when you're conducting an open house to capture a lead, and what do you do with those leads. And then in the last session on Tuesday, we discussed capture leads through social media. And again, every lead we capture, whether through an open house or social media or whatever kinds of method we use, we always feed it in our database, and we grow that database and we maintain it, okay? Database is the treasure that each one of us has in order to grow his or her business. 9, today's session, we're going to capture more leads. And then with that, after that session, we would have known all what we need to know about lead generation. And then after that, we're going to start with the lead follow-up in 4 classes, and then the transaction business, which is comprised of 7 classes. So, without further ado, let's see what today's agenda is about capturing more leads, systems that work, prospecting versus marketing, gold mine of referrals, more resources, capture every lead, and then recaps and ahas. Has any one of you started any lead generation in any way, shape, or form? Have you tried to hold an open house? Have you tried door knocking? Have you tried cold calling? Has anyone done anything? Okay. What did you do on social media? Yeah, I saw some of your posts and I liked them. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, events. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Events are always good. Anyone wants to share something from Zoom? Johnny, you've been since the beginning. Have you done anything? With referrals? Okay, that's good. How did you, because we're going to be discussing referrals in depth today. Referrals from who? From sphere of influence or from other agents or from what? Yes, sir. Good, good. So you did what I told you. I know a lot of you guys are in real estate part-time. So whatever your other job is, talk to your coworkers. Let them know you got the real estate license. Tell them that, and you're available to serve if you want someone wants to sell or buy. If they're telling you they're not, available to sell or not thinking of selling or buying right now, it's okay. Do you know anybody, family member, friends? That might trigger something in their memory. You know what? My neighbor said he's thinking of selling. I'll give him your number. Something like that. And the conversation doesn't end here. You need to follow up again with your coworker and tell them, how about that neighbor? You said you were going to get me his number, or he's going to contact me. I need to contact him. And so on and so forth. So let's see a quote from Gary Keller in his book Shifts. You love people, but at the same time, you haven't yet learned to love hunting for them. You have to be always, it's a good thing you love people. We all love people. But you need to love hunting for them. The idea of to love hunting for them, that's a great thing, because let's say I know 100 people. Okay, that's good enough. I'll just work on those. Why don't we work on the 100 and try to expand the 100 to be 500, and so on and so forth, and expand, right? We want to hunt more people and add them to our database, because as our number in the database grows and as we're consistently following up with our database and lead generating, we're going to get transactions, okay? So let's talk about systems that work. And there's another quote from Gary Keller in Shift as well. Your number one job is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers. That's the number one job we're trying to do here. And that's why we lead generate. That's our primary function, is lead generation. We're trying to be in the path of someone who's looking to buy or sell. I'm going to give you a live example that happened with me this week, actually. So someone called me on the phone, and she was asking, I don't know, for a name that's not me. I told her, no, I think you got the wrong number. So she told me, this is not Nissan. I was trying to call Nissan about a car or something. I don't know. I told her, no, I'm James, and I work in real estate. I can help you sell or buy a house if that's what you're looking for. So she said, you know what, I'm maybe thinking of buying coming up like in a few months. I thought, that's great. And then we had a conversation, and then I connected her with a lender. And where, she's just graduated from pharmacy, and I told her, you can use your work history as the school that you've been studying for, so that you guys, you don't have necessarily to have 2-year work history. You can use part of the work history as the study hours you've had in school. So it could be as simple as that, just a wrong number, but you initiated a conversation. Another time, I was in Sam's Club, I believe, and I was just having one item, and I was standing in line, and there's this nice guy in front of me. He told me, you can come in from me, you only have one item. Oh, thank you so much, sir. So to show my appreciation, I told him, you know what, here's my business card. If you ever want to sell or buy or free consultation in real estate, give me a call. He said, you know what, I am actually thinking of buying. So I'm going to, and we exchanged information. So it's something as simple as that. That's how simple lead generation is. But this is just as you're doing your day-to-day errands, but you have to have it in a systematic approach. Like you have to have a plan on your schedule and block out time to make calls, to follow up with your database. It has to be systematic. But that's just as simple as if you're going grocery shopping or you're talking on the phone. Let's use examples from the field, that's all. There are two M's of lead generation, which is message and methods. Lead generation should always be purposeful and intentional. Purposeful and intentional. So the two M's, as we can see, are the message and the method. So for the message, in order to make a good message to your potential clients or to a lead or to a prospect, the message has to match your market and it has to make an offer. So what does that mean? Match your market, for example, right now we know that interest rates are very high, they're skyrocketing. You can't be just saying it's a great time to buy because interest rates are very good right now. Anybody who's not even thinking of purchasing knows that that's not true. But you can say, I know what some of you are going to say, so what am I going to say? But it's a bad time to buy? No, it's still a good time to buy, but that's not the reason. It's a good time to buy even though interest rates are high, but competition is less right now because a lot of people are waiting on the sidelines, a lot of buyers are waiting on the sidelines in order for the interest rates to go down. So right now, if you go to buy a house, you won't find that much competition. There's not going to be multiple offers. We're not paying over asking price or over market price. So that's an advantage you can take care of. Plus the other things you can always educate your client on is like the home values 95% of the time appreciate and stuff like that. As for make an offer means what is the call to action. So there's the message. So make an offer, it could be a direct offer. Like for example, if you want to know more, call me on this number, okay? An indirect offer could be like, if you want to learn more, go to my website, something like that. But there must be a call of action that you want to ask the client, okay, so there is this great listing right now that came into the market and you're posting that on Facebook. So what is the call of action? You've got to tell them something to do, which is call me on my number or go to my website. Of course, it's better to, that he would call you on the number, right now, but there's no point of him going to your website. When you match your market, you gotta have a plan in mind. You gotta have a system or a strategy. So what's your target audience? Are you looking for homeowners, targeting them to sell? Or are you looking for renters and convincing them to buy because of the many benefits of home ownership? And if you're looking for buyers, are you looking for first-time home buyers or for people who already own a home but looking for income properties? Or if you're looking for buyers who are in the luxury level, you got to find out what your target audience is because it depends on how you're going to promote yourself. Because if you're targeting first-time home buyers, you would probably get new listings. That doesn't necessarily have to be by you because we discussed that in the last class. I know some of you are new, or many of you are new, and you don't have any listings at all. So how am I going to promote a listing on Facebook? It doesn't have to be yours, guys. It could be one of the office agents and just say this new listing came into the market. So if you promote a listing, okay, that's like $900,000, this $900,000 listing just came in Carson, for example. You're targeting a broad range of buyers, okay? And depending on your sphere on Facebook or Instagram, you know your friends better than me. Is this their price range, or do you know a lot of rich friends, for example, where you would say this new listing came in Rancho Palos Verdes for $2.7 million? So which would cause more traction, okay? Definitely the 2.7 will cause more attention, but will it get you the business you need? Right now you're trying to build up your business, okay? So you gotta have the target audience. Market conditions, you gotta acknowledge the market conditions and speak things that make sense based on the market conditions we're in. Like there is facts that are there already. We're in a seller's market, inventory is low, interest rates are high, there is a lot more buyers than sellers in the market. That's what's going on right now. So you got to go throughout these criteria. And at the same time, it's a good market for a good time to sell and a good time to buy. And I mentioned why it's a good time to buy just earlier when I said because there's no competition even though the interest rate is high. Any questions so far? Everything clear, or am I going too fast? That's for the message for number one. For methods, because this is 2 M's, now for the method. The method, we discussed that in the lead generation session 5. We're going to go through it again quickly. There's 2 ways of lead generation in the method: prospects and markets. Prospect and marketing. Whether you're doing this or that, you're going to need to time block. Okay? Of course, the time block for prospecting is much more, it takes more time than marketing, because marketing, you've got to spend more money, and you just spend the money and it does it for you. You know, whatever you're putting an ad in a magazine, you're mailing out postcards, printing out colored flyers, stuff like that. That's more expensive than prospecting. And we're going to go into a diagram about this right now. And when we time block, we need to prepare, take action, and maintain. We got to prepare who we're going to be prospecting, okay? Like what's going to be our target audience, where we're going to be farming, where we're going to be door knocking. We got to have a list that we're trying to call, cold call. Are we going to be calling expired, FISBOs, all that. Take action. Okay, you made a good plan, but don't forget to take action, because sometimes we just lay out the plan. Oh, I done my work for today. That's it. Well, you need to take action of what you prepared, and then maintain. Maintain, you got to be consistent. Always be consistent and adding new people every day. Any questions so far about the 2 M's? Okay, as again, go ahead. I'm sorry?
No, just want to let you know, Sam. It's great. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, now the good news is leads are everywhere. Okay, that's a fact. It's okay, there's so many agents competing with us, but the good news is leads are everywhere. And people want to work with somebody who has 2 things: who's trustworthy and who has knowledge. That's what they care about. They don't care if you've been in the business for 30 years and you sold 500 homes last year. They don't care about that. They care about you have knowledge to protect them. And that's why we had the first phase, or the first 4 classes, talking about becoming the real estate expert of choice. And you're trustworthy. They know they can trust you. You're going to look after their best interest, their own benefit, before you look after your own benefits and your commission. So leads are everywhere. You got to approach, you got to connect, and you got to ask. Okay? So if any of you who is not that much social, who likes to be alienated, doesn't like to talk to many people, you got to start talking. I'm not going to tell you it's not the job for you, but no, you got to change that. You got to start becoming more social, talking to everybody you can talk to. You don't have to talk to the first conversation you want to sell it by. No. Just build relations. Just it. Start by building relations. Make people want to talk to you. Try to give them value. Okay? Connect with them, you know? So when you talk to people, tell them, like, for example, you met someone in a barbecue. Okay, hi, I'm Gio, for example. Okay, what's your name? Okay, I'm David. So, David, what do you do? I'm an engineer. He must reciprocate back and tell you, what do you do, Gio? That's where your chance to say, don't tell them your other part-time job is, we don't care about that. Tell them you're a real estate agent. Okay, that's what you want to tell them. And don't tell them I'm a real estate agent and at the same time I'm a nurse practitioner. Don't tell him that. He has to know you're a real estate agent, and that's all he needs to know, because when people hear you're doing something else part-time, he may think that you're not knowledgeable enough, not experienced enough to handle a transaction if he was thinking of dealing with you. Is that clear, guys? So you connect, and after he knows your real estate, most likely he's going to tell you, how's the market? And that's a very easy question to answer because it takes preparation. Just like we learned on the prior slide, you got to prepare. And I already told you what's going on in the market, and so far it's been consistent. Inventory is low. Interest rates are high. It's a seller's market. And there are much more buyers than sellers. This is, even though it's very simple, but it shows you're knowing what's going on. Another thing you should know on a weekly basis, the movement of the interest rates, because even people who are not interested, they tend to care about that. Even though it's not our area, it should be the lenders, but when you're knowledgeable about that, it's good. It shows that you know. You can tell, for example, interest rate went like 0.5 point since last week. It went up. There's expectations the interest rates are going to go down next in the coming few months because it's an election year. Stuff like that. And ask, after you have a very good conversation, at the end of that conversation, just as you're ending it, you can bring up this question: if you know anybody who needs help in selling or buying a home, I will be happy to help. I'll give free consultation. Very simple. Okay? Ahas or questions? Yep. Yep. Is there a specific place where you would go to get those, like, numbers? Well, on my website, I have a link that I use that takes me. I forget what the land thing is. I'm going to send it to you. I just don't remember because there was a page that always every day tells you the change in interest rates, goes up, goes down. I have it on my website to say the daily interest rate as something to attract people to my website, but I'll send it to you. You can use it as a link for yourself that will because it takes them to an outside source, not to my, but you can use that as your, okay. That's a good question. I like that you guys are taking notes too. That's very good. Plus also, even if you just Google what the interest rate is today, there will, tons of things will tell you. So. Okay, now let's go for prospecting versus marketing. As I mentioned, we're gonna see like a diagram of that. Lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing. So it's a contact sport. Lead generation is you can't lead generate without contacting people. It doesn't work. You have to be contacting somebody, anybody, even if it's your cousin. Even if it's someone walking down the street, you have to contact somebody. So first you gotta contact. But you gotta contact, there's two ways of contacting people. Prospect or market. And we're gonna see a detailed comparison and see what I recommend for you guys to start with, okay? In a little bit. The reason we always lead generate, remember how we're trying to be in the path of sellers and buyers? Remember that? I just mentioned that. Because everybody, or let's say 95% of people, are likely to move, sell their home between 7 to 10 years. And of course, they're going to sell their home and buy a new home. Okay? It's all like that. in addition to the people who are renting for years and now they want to jump in to become homeowners. So every 7 to 10 years, we see those humps. We want to be in their path when they're thinking of making the move. Okay? So if you're constantly in front of them in one way or one form or another, whether it was a phone call, whether they know you, whether they saw you on social media, whether they met you by coincidence or through an acquaintance or a friend of a friend, you're just out there. So you want to be there when they make that move, but the humps move every 7 to 10 years. And there's tons of people. You want to be there when they want to make that move. Now that's the diagram I was talking about between prospecting and marketing. Of course, it may seem the easy thing is I would just, print out a lot of nice colored